Hi, welcome back to another webisode of Tabitha's Topics. I'm Tabitha Morris. I'm the owner and executive director of Clinical Consulting Agency, which is an agency that is geared towards the professional advancement of mental health professionals and organizations around the world. So thank you all for tuning in for this segment on gaslighting. And today, and not only just today, this month, we're taking a pause on just doing professional topics because there are some items that translate over to our personal lives as well. And as you all know, with this segment, it's just not about professional development. While that is the primary focus, we do focus on topics that enhance our overall well-being and purpose. So this month, we are fine-tuning and focusing on gaslighting because it's important for us to understand what exactly it is for us and what it looks like in our lives. If you haven't already done so, be sure to check out last week's webisode, and I'll link it below in the description for you to check out at your leisure. However, it is important as a generation that we understand what it is. So today we are going to be talking about 3 different signs that you are currently being gaslighted. Again, whether this is in a professional setting, a personal setting. Today we're going to focus more on the personal side because it's something that's a bit more prevalent. So sign number 1 that you may obviously encounter by the manipulator or the person who is perpetrating the gaslighting technique is denial. Of course, deny. The task of the manipulator or the person that is executing this gaslighting is to invalidate your credibility. So whether this is on a widespread scale or whether this is a one-on-one interaction, the purpose is to make you contemplate what you're saying and make you feel like this didn't happen, or that you are really experiencing something else, whether it may be paranoia, whether it may be, just anything outside of the truth. That's exactly what it is, right? So denial may look like denying a situation ever happened, denying conversations ever happen, even with hard proof or evidence. These denials continue to take place. And one thing that is very unfortunate, if you're in this situation, it's a little bit harder when you don't have facts to back it up. And if you're not firm in what you're saying and you're not firm in the situation that may have occurred, this can cause you to have lower self-esteem. This can cause you to really examine your thoughts and your execution, or even if the situation ever even happened. So it's important that when you are faced with a denial situation, that you remain firm, that you remain confident in your stance, that you remain cognizant and aware of what is going on, what is taking place. Do not respond from an emotional place, and continue to execute the conversation if it's required at that time. A second circumstance or a second sign that you may also see is something that we call countering. And what countering does is, again, it invalidates your statements, it invalidates your experiences by stating things such as, are you sure that occurred? Sometimes your memory can be a little jogged or whatnot, or, sometimes you have a hard time remembering things. So when you hear people make references like that, or subtle remarks, it doesn't even have to be just that. I know that there's been a lot on your mind lately. Are you sure that happened? Things like that, okay? Those are very subtle ways of gaslighting. So if this is if it's someone coming from someone that you authentically love, and you may have to sit back and think about it. But generally, this is a tactic of someone who does not want to admit to their wrongdoings. And again, it's unfortunate, but you must stay firm. We're going to go a little bit more into the solutions later on, because the solutions are actually based on whatever it is that you're facing. Today, we're only going to cover those 3 things that are seen in our personal relationships. It can be seen on work relationships, but it's more prevalent in personal relationships. So again, if somebody is countering you, just be on the lookout for those subtle remarks, just those subtle questions about your credibility, where you may be mentally at that time. Those are general signs that you may possibly be receiving a gaslighting treatment at that time. So another huge sign, you guys, is withholding information. And there are so many other signs, but the reason why I chose these 3 signs, honestly, is because they are the most prevalent. So what exactly is withholding information? That means that person does have knowledge of what happens, and it almost falls into the category of denial, but it's actually, they know they may have been present at that particular situation, but they are not providing you the context, the conversation, or whatever you may need to solidify your point. They are simply withholding information from you. And the reason why it is so important to understand what these signs look like is because they happen so frequently. Okay, they happen very frequently. In fact, I have added the percentage rate of the amount of people that have been gaslighted just recently. It's overwhelming. And so if we know the signs, if we know what to look for, we know that we can combat it. If you don't know, or if you don't have knowledge of what's going on, there's no way for you to fight. There's no way for you to properly resolve those situations. But I will say this. There are many strategies that you can execute in order to make sure that your manipulator is not winning this battle. And unfortunately, as I stated last week, the biggest issue with this is deception, right? Deception. The sole purpose of the manipulator is to invalidate your stance. This is going to have a long-term effect or impact not only on your relationship, but your psyche moving forward if you do not address it. So what are some solutions that you can do in your personal relationships? Because remember, we're going to be discussing the work segment, which is a whole different ball game. We're going to be discussing that not next week, but the week after next, right? So when it comes to being firm about your position, be confident in who you are. Be confident in the statements that you're making. Have your facts to back it up when you're presenting. Make sure you are not emotional. And I know this is going a little bit fast, but it's important for you to understand it. And I'll replay that for you in an event that you need to hear me again. Right? So I just want to make sure that you know, because what happens is, with gaslighting, again, the more you entertain that person and the more you even show an inkling of emotional distress, you have just been captivated in, okay? That's what you don't want. You don't want that. You don't want that. So it's important for you to understand this. And as I stated before, you all, this is a form of abuse. This is a form of abuse, right? This is a form of psychological abuse. So if you're experiencing this in your relationships, whether it's with a romantic partner, or whether it's with a frenemy, whether it's with a friend, sometimes people don't realize that they're even executing gaslighting symptoms. This might just be a way of behavior or something that they are, something that they may just not be aware of, right? But it's important to call it like you see it, y'all. Like, it's time to heal, not just as an individual, not just as a community, but us as a people. It is really time for us to address these toxic behaviors. We cannot continue to thrive like this. We look around the world. And we want change. The change starts within ourselves. The change starts with us knowing who exactly we are, who we belong to, whose we are, whose we belong. You know what I'm saying? So it's important for us to realize and take that into consideration, right? We don't want to keep having to play these mind games generation after generation, and it gets worse and worse and worse. Gaslight, there is literally, the Bible states that there is nothing new under the sun. Gaslighting has been around for millions of years, okay? It has been passed down from generation to generation. And if you ask me, this is a form of trauma. It is very traumatic to experience something like this. But guess what? If we are not addressing it, then we are the ones that become the perpetrators. So not only is this segment for the ones who may be victims of it, but if you're perpetrating these symptoms or these signs, like, it's time for some self-examination, because we say we want healing, we say we want growth, we say we want to do better as a people. Let's be about that life. Let's be about it, y'all. Like, let's be about it. So I'm so grateful that you all again tuned in with me this week. I'm so excited, you guys. Like, share, subscribe, you guys. We definitely want to get the word out about this channel. We want to see young professionals thrive. We want to see people grow. We want to see organizations grow. But most importantly, we want you all to really thrive in life, right? We want you to thrive, right? So thank you all for joining me this week. Once again, my name is Tabitha Morris, and I look forward to you all in our next segment. And before we go, please, let's continue to keep DMX family in our prayers. It was a tragic situation. There's such a buzz in the mental health community about it right now. But it is so important that we are taking care of not just some of our celebrity icons, but we're also taking care of the ones that are right there in our families. So thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you guys soon. Love you guys.